Hi, I'm Beth, and this video is brought to you by Baby Lock. Serging is a great way to finish projects. A lot of times when you're serging, the seams are secured by an intersecting seam. But what do you do if that's not the case? You're left with these long thread tails, and how do you finish those? I'm going to show you 4 ways to secure those thread tails today. The first way is one of the easiest. So simply take some seam sealant, we like to use fray check, and dot it on the edge of your fabric where those threads are coming off. And you can just let that dry and then trim off any excess. Our second way to secure those thread tails is to tie a knot. So just try to get it as close as possible to the edge of the fabric. You can either tie a knot in the entire chain, or you can also separate those strands and tie a knot with those two. You just kind of pull it as close as possible to the edge of your fabric, and then you can cut off the excess. The third way is to leave about a 3 to 4 inch long thread tail and weave it back through your stitching. So we like to use a tapestry needle for this. It has a very big eye and a blunt tip, so if you poke yourself, you're not going to hurt yourself. And it sometimes is hard to thread this back through, even though it is a big eye, so we've got a little trick for you. So if you put it on top of your needle, wrap it around, kind of squeeze at the bottom, and then slide it off. That gives you a nice little clump of thread that you can just push through the eye. And then you can just weave it back down your line of stitching. And that really hides that thread, and then you can cut off the excess. Our final method is to lock the seam right on your serger. There are 2 different techniques for this, one for the beginning of the seam and one for the end of the seam. So I'll start with the beginning. So get your fabric ready. As you approach the edge of your fabric, you just want to use your hand wheel to take 2 to 3 stitches into your fabric. Then with the needles down, raise your presser foot and smooth out the thread tail. Just kind of pull it to kind of smooth it out, and then swing it around and line it up with the edge of your stitching line. Then you can put the presser foot back down and then continue stitching for about an inch or so, and then you can just pull the thread tail off to the side and the blade will chop the excess off. So this is what that looks like. It looks like you used that weave back through technique, but it's just done on the serger. Next, I'll show you how to finish the end of the seam. Slow down as you approach the edge of your fabric, and then use your hand wheel to take 1 stitch off of the fabric. Then raise your needles up to the highest position, and then raise your presser foot. Then you're going to pull back gently on the fabric. This helps the fabric come off of the stitch fingers. And then flip your piece end over end, so you can see now we're upside down, and then reposition underneath the needle, put your presser foot down, and you don't want to cut the stitching, so this is a good time to put your blade in the lock position, which will tuck that away, and then you can just do a little bit of stitching, about an inch or so, and then just chain off, then cut off any excess. And one more thing I wanted to mention. When you're using a serger, you need something to catch the fabric that's cut off. Baby Lock makes this trim bin that you can set under your serger to catch those fabric scraps. It also helps protect your table surface and can help eliminate vibration. I love to use a serger to create a really secure seam and finish fast. So next time you're serging, try one of these 4 techniques for securing those thread tails and find out which one is your favorite.